and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today we're by the water because we have the new ocean-inspired BYD Seal.
That's right, it's a car that's great to take clubbing, or it's something you'd be crazy not to drive. Come, let's take a look at this. Now the Seal continues on with BYD's or Build Your Dreams ocean aesthetics themed. So you've got the dolphin, you've got, actually we can make up some other names, but anyway, it does continue down that vein, and it does give you a little bit of a sort of an aquatic look, although I probably wouldn't take this into the water behind me. Looking around the front here, you do have the BYD logo here. The lights, what they are, they're LEDs, but they're also double U, so a U and a U, which makes it a double U. These lights here are also come alive, so they are sort of the DRLs, and just gives it a really sharp face. And also looking around here, this really curvature of this bonnet is amazing. And under here is a what they call a frunk, so you've got some storage space in there for your likes of your charging cables. But good looking sharp front. I think when you're looking out of the window here, this looks very Porsche like, so you've got these sort of two arches here, but that could just be me. The Seal is basically a sports sedan. It's an all-electric sports sedan, and for New Zealand we're bringing in three models. We have the Dynamic, we have the Premium, and we actually the Performance. The Performance is the top of the line, and that's what we have here. So this one comes with the dual motors, bigger battery, and lots of them, but I'll get to that in a minute. Looking around the design here, you've got some lovely sort of aesthetics on here, lovely 19-inch feet that really grip the road, and also R1 comes in this sort of lovely grey colour. They're actually, I guess, tongue-in-cheek calling shark grey. The handles are basically recessed, so they go in and out and make sure that there's a nice sort of low drag coefficient. I'll see if I can find out what that is. But as you can see, nice flowing roof line, panoramic roof, and yeah, more 19-inch wheels. Now before we head round the rear, I just want to point out this sill here, like sort of gill looks, which is again very fish-like or very seal-like, although I don't think seals have gills. But anyway, let's head round the rear. Now being a sedan, it very much has a sloping roof line down the back here and a boot that I'll show you about in a minute, but I want to point out this. So you've got the lights here, or the light bar, they're calling dot matrix, which is very 70s, but anyway, dot matrix light bar across here, which is cool. BYD logo. There's also an all-wheel drive logo, gives you an idea about what's coming on. BYD Seal, and also 3.8S. Now that doesn't mean it's a 3.8 litre sport. What it means is that this thing will apparently go from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds, but we will double check on that. And also down the bottom here, the diffuser is very finishy, or nice way to finish the end here. There's a lot of fish jokes I can come up with. And also, if I open up here, there's your boot space that has multi-layers, so you can hide things under there. But let's see what powers this. What this is connected to is an 82 kilowatt hour battery, or blade battery, that when fully charged is up to 520 kilometers of range. It's also got a vehicle to load point of view, so you can actually charge your fridge and things like that from it. That in turn goes on to power two electrical motors that when combined gives you 390 kilowatts of power and 670 newton meters of torque. And let's not forget that 3.8 0 to 100. So it's very fast and very powerful. Just like Matthew, who's inside, he'll show you what's going in there.
I've got to be honest, I'm pretty flattered by Dave's segue there, but let me not get too ahead of myself, because you know, my skills can be certainly put to the test with an interior like this one that BYD have made. Now, if you're familiar with the Atto 3, and no doubt you would have seen our video on the Atto 3, you would have seen that the interior was quite a statement, if you like, very sort of divisive in its design and its inspiration in terms of a gym. I'm glad to say that the BYD Seal's ocean aesthetics are far more pleasing to most people, let's say. And I mean, that not just goes for the design, but also the material qualities as well as the equipment in here, which is all to a very good standard. Bear in mind, this is the Seal Performance model, which is the top model that we get in New Zealand. It has a retail price of about $82,000. In this interior, well, you do get these lovely sporty leather seats, really nicely bolstered. You do get this diamond sort of perforation in the seat as well, and both the driver and passenger have heated seats and ventilated seats, not to mention electronic adjustability as well. You've also got these integrated headrests with the BYD logo stitched into there. You know, there's some contrast blue stitching going on as well to further enhance that ocean aesthetics theme. And then you get to the dashboard, again continuing with that blue stitching going across there. You've also got a really nice sort of wavy flow to it, and of course some Alcantara like suede material around in places, as well as it, rather than going with piano black or sort of silvery plastic finishes, they've gone with this sort of really nice matte gray all around, which gives an upmarket feel to this interior. Speaking of upmarket feels, the material quality generally is very good. You get soft stuff up there. Obviously this feels really nice to touch. Scratchy plastics down there, but there's not much you can do about that. They have also really thought about conveniences, so you do get not one but two wireless charging pads on here, so 1 and 1. You also get a NFC connection sort of pad right here on the top of the armrest, and if you lift up this very heavy, very solid armrest, you do get a deep cubby down the middle there, not to mention cup holders as well as some storage underneath there as part of this floating center console, as you can see. As you can also see, the interior is extremely minimalistic. You've only got this sort of control pad here, which has your shifter, your start button, driving mode, and sort of volume rocker in this sort of confined area, because most of what you need to play around with in this interior goes on that infotainment screen. Now over here, as you can see, it's BYD's infotainment screen. In particular, this one is 15.6 inches, and of course comes with that party trick of the rotating, which you simply do by pressing that button, and then it turns into this portrait orientation. This is the main home screen, so as you can see there at the top, you've got your radio, or rather input, audio input. You've got your BYD assistant right there waiting to go, and then a set of apps, and then below that you've got your air conditioning controls, which are all fixed there for ease of use. Now if I flick over to the next screen, you can see that this screen has not just got Bluetooth connectivity and navigation inbuilt, but you also do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well inbuilt, so quite handy from that side. One of the cool party tricks is this vehicle image system, and if you click on that, it uses all of the cameras around the car to generate, as you can see, images on either side, as well as your car in the space. So it's quite cool there, and you also have that 3D option to view your car in the situation as well. Now if I head back to the app drawer, as you can see there, the other thing I want to point out is the car settings, because there's just so many to go through the various screens, including I've got a remark on the quality of equipment available as part of the ADAS system. So obviously you have your intelligent cruise control, you have stuff like driver attention warning, there's even child presence detection, which tells you if there's people in the back that you may have left as you're leaving the car. And if you do disengage this, it will actually give you a warning light on the gauge cluster, just to remind you that this is in fact off. And it actually shows the car with a nice little smiley face to remind you of, I guess, a child's happy face. Next up, new energy. You can go into that and sort of play around with your charging and sort of scheduled charging and preconditioning and all that sort of stuff from this screen here. And vehicle settings, you can play around with the more dynamic components of this car, as well as stuff like your ambient lighting and all of that through here. And lastly, your vehicle health mode, which is more so around your information and usage. Head back into the home mode like so, and flick through, and you've got some more, as you can see there, apps and things, including smart charging, to help you really make the most of this battery and the charging system. And I've got to remark that this infotainment screen, and the audio rather, gives you access to that 12-speaker Dyne audio system, which includes a subwoofer as well on this Performance Seal. In front of the driver, you have this 10.25-inch gauge cluster, and in typical BYD fashion, filled with all of the essential information that you need for an EV like this. So starting from the right, you have your speedometer, nice little gauge there, including your car as it sits on the road, as well as your lane departure and sort of sensor monitors on there. On the left, you've got your drive usage, so you've got your kilowatts there, and whether it's charging or in eco or power, it'll tell you like so. Down the bottom, you've got a range indicator with both your battery and kilometers showing, and then at the top you have what gear you're in as well as which mode you're into. So it does show you plenty of information there, as well as in the middle you can see a nice little hologram of the BYD Seal Performance, because that's got two motors, as you can see there, with the battery in the middle. Now, if I take a step back to the steering wheel, it feels really nice and solid. You've got your thumb grips there, a flat bottom to show you that this performance is not just in the name. It has got a sporty feel to it, right down to the interior. Plenty of buttons on either side, with the left ones controlling your intelligent cruise control, as well as a button to flick between the two different orientations of the infotainment screen. And on the right side, you've got your volume and audio controls there. So not just sporty, but also intuitive as well. Now the Seal is a sedan, which means that you'll be using the back seat probably to different extents, I guess, depending on where in the job ladder you sit. But there's no doubt that sitting in the back here, there's not just a feeling of space, there is a real space, because this driver's seat in front of me I've set up for myself to be comfortable, but just take a look at how much knee room I have there, not to mention the headroom and the shoulder room. It's just enormous back here. You could easily fit another person pretty comfortably in the middle. The floor is obviously flat because this is an EV, so you don't get that central hump. And you do get air conditioning vents. You get a little storage space through there, which hides some USB-C and USB-A charging ports. You've got a magazine holder there, along with two pockets for a phone most likely. And then you've also got a central armrest as well to go with that sort of luxurious executive feeling. But I've just got to say, the space in the back here is amazing. But no matter where you're sitting, you will be pushed into the back of your seat by that performance. So let's go and take a drive.
In true Let's Scare Matthew tradition, what we've done is we've got it in sports mode. I've just pulled up to the stop and I don't have anything on the brake pedal. All I need to do is just stamp on the accelerator. How's that? Does that feel like 3.8 seconds?
It felt close enough. I could feel it in my gut.
So I think now that Matthew's heart rate has settled, it's probably a good time to discuss the Seal in a more refined sort of situation. And it is quite a refined drive when you're not trying to break the land speed record, and the luxury that's around it. I like the feel of the cabin. It's a quiet cabin, and also it's a safe and secure cabin by the feel of it.
Absolutely, it feels, as I covered before, in the interior, it feels well put together. The quality of materials is really nice, and what that makes for essentially is, you know, a very silent, very comfortable, relaxing drive. When you're not, you know, putting your foot through it, it will sort of calmly waft along the road, you know, like it's, I don't know, surfing a gentle wave.
The couple of gripes. There's always some gripes I've got with an EV, it seems, but the traffic sign recognition, which is, I know is part of your ANCAP sort of situation now, but it does ping quite aggressively the moment you sort of go anywhere near the speed limit or over the speed limit, obviously, and to get rid of it you do have to delve into a few menus, and you do have to do that every time, which I would like a shortcut to do that. And also I would like a shortcut for the battery regen, as far as you can either, there is no one pedal driving, and if you want to have a hard regen or a soft regen, you have to select that, or there's a lot of messing around through the screen. So I would have preferred to have a paddle or a button, something nice and easy.
Absolutely. And I guess one gripe I have to express is the silver lined, as you can see there, glass panoramic roof is extremely nice for enjoying the view and you do get plenty of sun in. But in a country like New Zealand over here, our sun is very harsh on a summer's day, at least for me. I don't know, Dave seems to be thriving in it, so
My dark English skin.
maybe a shade or something like that would have been handy. But as you can see above, that glass sunroof, or glass roof rather, is so massive, and it just goes to show that this Seal is really highly equipped actually. The seats are both sporty in the front. You get heating and ventilation, electronic adjustment. There's a 12-speaker Dyne audio system. I mean, the materials are great. It drives nicely. So the quality of fit and finish, and I think just the sort of level that BYD is operating at with this Seal is really high.
I agree. It does feel like it's a very well put together vehicle. There's very little panel gaps. Everything seems to fit very nicely. The head-up display is really bright, and these screens are massive, so you get all the information you want. I haven't managed to get 520 kilometers of range. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but then also at times I have been driving it like a moron.
It is, of course, the performance model, so I think that sort of driving is, well, to be expected when you've got those sort of twin motors operating, and of course a 0 to 100 time of 3.8 seconds. If you wanted efficiency, then you could choose the other two single motor options, but let's be honest, you go for this performance model, well, because you want performance.
And because you can. Love the space. The steering is really good. Visibility, actually, pretty much all round is good. Big mirrors, the big windscreen, even the rear windscreen. If you were to drop the two embossed headrests back there are slightly blocking the way, but on the middle one is ducks down very nicely, so you can see out there. And then of course you got 360-degree bird's eye camera view, so that's really good. Does park itself. The adaptive cruise control is good. It's a really advanced, well kitted out vehicle, and I like the fact that you can switch between, or the roll of a finger here, you can go from eco to sport or normal, and I tend to spend a lot of time in sport.
Speaking of spending a lot of time in the car, if you do, and you will notice that a lot of people, it actually catches the attention, frankly, of a lot of people. I have noticed, that sort of sleek silhouette that it's got, and in this color, the not Aurora white, the shark gray, although that's up for debate. In this color and that sleek sort of body that it has accentuating the car's lines quite well, and we've had people paying, rather catching their eyes. We've had Dave, having photos taken, not of him, of course, of the car. But yeah, it does tend to be prepared for the attention if you do want to drive around in one of these.
So there you have it, the new to us, BYD Seal, and particularly the performance model. It's quick. I have to say, it is very, very rapid. Holds the road very well. Nice low center of gravity, and those two motors really giving it stink. And decked out really well. Thumbs up. It really has sort of elevated my impression of the brand, and also just how good this vehicle is.
It's amazing to see the variety of stuff that BYD have put out recently for us in New Zealand. The Atto 3, the Dolphin, and now the Seal. And I mean, this is just sort of the absolute cream of the crop in this performance spec as well. The luxury bits it's got, the audio, the style, and then the performance, of course. It really is quite the complete package of a sedan.
Absolutely. I think we should go and take this clubbing. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. And yeah, ciao for now.